Hello, everybody coming on. Please make sure you comment. I don't see any comments. I wonder why. There we go, Brenda. I don't know. I'm going to try to. Okay, I'm looking up something real quick. Hi, Gail. I'm going to try something just a little bit different this morning. Maybe. And maybe not. Who knows? Trying to see if I can't. Daggone. Here we go. Maybe. Trying to see what I can see on my iPad. So, anyway, howdy, not jowdy. Jowdy's okay too. South Carolina. I'll be there in 2 months. South Carolina. Yep, 2 months. April 20th. Okay, guys, how is everybody? I had a rough start to my morning. I did a dumb thing yesterday. Well, it wasn't dumb. I went out to eat with my work friends. We're all retired, but one of us now. And we went out to eat. And if you don't know anything about Cincinnati, you won't understand this, but I went to La Rosa's and their sauce is very tomato based. It's an Italian pizza place, spaghetti, all that stuff. And it like to killed me this morning because I've struggled with diverticulosis, so I know better than to eat something real tomato based. It did not agree. It was probably going on 9 o'clock before I got up. Oh, Marion's been sick too. Marion, I hope you feel better. But anyway, it wasn't agreeing with me this morning. I thought, oh, we're going to have a rough day. But we're getting a little bit better since we got up, moved around, tried to get the gunk out, and all that stuff. But yeah, we might have some bad weather today. Some winds, I guess. I heard maybe some tornado stuff. And then tomorrow it's going to get really cold. Then we're going to get back up into the 60s again. And it's no wonder everybody's sick. But anyway, I told you last week, remember I showed you how I did my I kept my notebooks for my PDFs and all that stuff. And I said I would show you how I did my techniques and how I keep that and all that stuff. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm actually going to show you a technique. I'm going to show you how I used to, when I taught classes in person, how we did our technique classes and stuff. But anyway, I'm going to do that. And Libby, back to you. I know not to eat, but I get tired of, I know not to eat tomato-based stuff, but I get tired of Alfredo too. I should have just stuck with the salad and been done with it, but no. I don't know what I was thinking, but today I wasn't thinking straight, I know. Hindsight's 2020, right? Okay. Before we get started, I just want yeah, I just want to say if you guys don't mind sharing my video, if you would, see if we can get some more stampers that like to come and see what we're doing, and give me thumbs up, give me all that good stuff. Just remember that celebration ends in a couple days, so if you don't have what you want out of the celebration catalog, now's the time to order so that you can get that stuff. And We should have 2 new kits coming in March. Can't think if it's April or that. Mary and I always get a calzone there, and I thought I'd be different yesterday. That wasn't smart. So anyway, I'm going to show you all that. And I just want to say, especially to my YouTube video people, that if you don't like hearing the comments and stuff, just maybe fast forward through the first part of the video a little bit, and you'll miss all the comments and stuff like that. But this is just what I do, and it's what I enjoy and stuff, and I'm trying to hit all platforms at one time to save some time to hopefully I can recreate more, but that's not been the case much either. So anyway, I'm gonna show you how first that I used to teach my classes. When I did in-person classes, we did once a month, we would do technique classes. And what we did it in a Rolodex. Here's one of my Rolodexes. I have a couple of these that are full. This is A through H as far as the names of the techniques. So it's just like a Rolodex. You go through, and on each card in here is a technique. Here's the technique I'm doing today. Of course, it's in a really light beige color, so you can't see it. But what we would do would be a sample card. Let me just move that out of the way a minute. We would do a sample card, and on the back would be the directions on how to do that said technique. That way you had a lot of room to store the techniques in here, and then you can just pull them out and see. I mean, I have a lot of these are old stamps. This is probably upwards to 15 years old or better. So, oh, yep, switch screens. Get going. Now it's going to, there we go. But as you can see, everything is set on the back, done on the front. They are in alphabetical order as far as being in my cases. And I have 2 of them that sits right on top of each other. And there's everything known to man in here, I think, as far as techniques and stuff. So that's what I used to do. Now, for your guys' benefit, I went with my regular PDF. So I have what I used and how the technique's done. So written out. And of course, I will be showing you that today. But this is a great way if you love techniques and you want them to be at your fingertips. Of course, Rolodexes are hard to find, but they are still out there, especially like Amazon and stuff. And or you can go to another simple system. But if you just do them on a card and put your directions on the back, and it's just a little consolidated direction. You know, I just basically said what kind of cardstock I used or whatever, and then what I did for it. So now, get that back in there. Let's move this out of our way. We don't need it in the way. It is bulky. But I have several of the people that used to take my classes still have their Rolodexes too. So that works out really good. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get started so we can do our technique. Like I said, here's your PDF. It'll be up at 10:30 on the Stamp Crazy VIP group. So you can grab it there if you want. Here's my little technique card. I went through them the other day, thought I'd see something I'd like to do. And here is my new version of my old technique. And what this technique is using is it's using drywall tape and a brayer. This is all we're using to do this technique. And of course, ink. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to do the technique. And you know, I didn't stamp that, and I was going to stamp that ahead of time and cut it out. Let me do that real quick and then we'll do the technique. So, and that is just going to go onto a scrap piece of cardstock, white cardstock with basic black ink. I got so engrossed doing another card last night that for something else I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this and let it dry good before we color it. So, because I'm going to do this card from start to finish. Okay, so I'm using the new online exclusive, the Simply Zinnias, or Zinnias, whatever you want to call them, whatever region of the country you're in and what you like to call them. I call them zinnias mainly. I just want to make sure I get a good image there in the center. So there is our image. Get that out of the way. I am going to cut this just real quick, guys. It'll only take me a second. I'm not going to pull that in front of the camera because of the fact that we are going to have the other stuff in front of the camera. And there we go. Do you really like these dies? I think they're so pretty. Pretty. But with the zinnias, it's this stamp set right here. And it's online exclusive. I think it's coming out the 1st of March. And I'm going to be using the Sending Flowers and Thinking of You. I really like that saying, that little saying in it. And then here's all the dies for the different flowers and stems. So let's put that up out of the way. And this, and we'll color him in a minute. Now we're going to do our technique. And what this technique is, it's going to use 3 pieces of drywall tape, measured about, if you use the Stampin' Up! Brayer, they're measured about 5 inches long. I'm only going to cut 2 because I have this little piece here, and that's what the 3rd piece would have been. I would have cut that down. So I'm just going to show you. And it, of course, drywall tape, if you don't know, is sticky on one side. So let's take our brayer. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let's stick that down in there. Okay, and I'm just going to come to this end. And I'm going to start my drywall tape. I'm going to roll it around because I want it to roll over top of each other. So why I cut it 5 inches, depending on your brayer, on how fat it is or thin. So I have one piece on. I'm going to do the other piece, and it doesn't matter if all these are lined up exactly right. You know, as far as where it overlaps and all that, that doesn't matter in the big scheme of things. And this I would measure off like a piece that measures about 1 inch. This one's a little bit less because I already cut one of them, but I'm going to use this end. I don't have to roll all the way to the edge. So, and if you can tell, I'm pulling these tight. And the reason why I'm overlapping them is just so they stick to each other. So there's my roller ready to go. Now, as that gets wet with ink, it is going to come apart a little bit, but don't let that scare you. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. And I don't know if you guys, if anybody has joined Stampin' Up! During celebration and gotten the glass mat, which is what this is. But I tell you what it's nice about is I can just ink right on here. And I'm going to use Smoky Slate ink. I'm going to use a gray. I thought I'd use something that's very um, basic. And anyway, about the glass mat, if you haven't got this and you'd like to have it for free, you got 2 days to join to get it. And I love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this till I basically see that it's pretty well inked up. And then I'm not even going to care which way I go. Okay, there's, you can see that that's just one piece done. See how it kind of looks like a tweed? If I went this spot over here a little bit more, just add more. I want to clean this out. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one that's going to be lighter. And I can use that on a second card somewhere. And it's just going to be a lighter base. But I'm just cleaning my ink off of here. I don't even have to re-ink it. Now it's not coming apart yet. I could keep going until my drywall tape gets too wet and then it starts coming loose. But you can make up a lot of different backgrounds. You could do a lot of different colors. And to me, it looks like a tweed. Doesn't it look like kind of like a tweed when you see that? Here it is on the card where you can see it really well. So that's what it is. It'll dry. It'll dry a little bit lighter. Now what's nice about, since I did that all over that, I'm going to take and move my brayer out of the way. I'm not going to worry about taking that off yet. And then you just peel. Well, actually, I'm going to. But anyway, you just, this chamois comes with this glass mat. And it'll just take your ink off. And then I just take a, like a microfiber towel and just wipe it so I don't get nothing wet. And then this, you just peel them off. And this one doesn't want to come off. There we go. I had thrown it away. And then I'll just take my, this is just a real thin chamois that comes with this brayer, with this glass mat, I mean. That way you can just wipe it off. So there we go. We got a nice clean brayer again. Make sure that's all done. That is all there is to that technique. You can do this in whatever colors you want to do it in. And all it is drywall tape. There's nothing fancy. You know, all drywall, I think all drywall tape has a sticky side to it. All that I've seen and bought has. So, that's what I used, and it's dry, and you can tell the way it's dried now. Let's see, get it and picked it up so you could see that. So it really doesn't matter how many times you go over it or whatever you do. It just gives it its own textured look. And I took a piece of the Smoky Slate cardstock, and this is the Zinnia embossing folder. And I am just going to glue that to the side. I went ahead and see which side I wanted it on. I went ahead and just cut out, since the embossing folder itself is a 6x6 embossing folder. I went ahead and did a 6x6 piece so I could just cut it down into pieces as I wanted it. It is right here it is. Can you see that? Yeah. Let me put this piece of cardstock in it, and that way you can see the, maybe see the, I don't know. It's hard to see with that glare. Glare, glare, glare. So make sure I get my stems upright on this. I'm just going to glue that to the side to give us a little bit of color on there. And that is just a 1 3/4 inch by 5 piece. This is a 5 by 3 3/4. And then I did 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 for my mat. And I used Calypso Coral. Here's our card back. Let's put it back in the section. Get the glue off of here now that I just put glue all over it. We'll do that. It does take glue off. This little thing does, which is good because I got glue all over this just a minute ago. Because I cleaned it right before I came on. Messy, messy, messy me. So now I'm going to add this just to my piece of Calypso Coral. That way I can just have them out of my way. I don't need them. This online exclusive they sell it as a suite. And it has some beautiful DSP to it. I'll show you that when we get done. Okay, so there's my card. And then I'm just going to put it on a thick basic white card base. So let's fold that over. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to there. That way we'll have all these little pieces out of my way. It's an easy technique. A lot of my techniques uses foreign stuff to stamping, I should say. You know, I don't use just stamping product like using drywall tape. I use beads, I use washers, all kinds of stuff to make your stuff with. Okay, here's I used light and dark Calypso Coral, light pecan pie, and light old olive. And then I used some Wink of Stella. And I don't know when we are going to ever be getting Wink of Stella back in. But I always test my, the reason why I do this is because sometimes the smaller end is your lighter color. But that's not always the case. And then my darker color is my bullet tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bullet tip and I'm going to do my leaves and my stems, and I'm just going to right where the dark lines are. I always say these stamps are idiot proof because they put our shaded lines and darker ink together so that we know that there's shading in there. It's just I'm only wanting to use one color. I'm not using the light and the dark because the dark old olive to me was too dark for what I wanted. So I just used both colors and shade with one end and color with the other. So I'm doing all my shading first and then I can go back over it if I want to. So I just do this kind of haphazardly. I don't have to be very precise with it. I just don't want to go out of the lines if I can help it. If I can help it. And I tend to take my images. Here, I'm going to pull this camera down a little bit since I'm coloring. I tend to turn my pieces of cardstock every which way when I'm doing that. So, forgot the big leaf. I had my finger on it. Looks like a hot mess when you're first doing it, but it's okay. Then I'm just going to take the other end and I'll just color my, and go over your darker color so that you can blend that in a little bit. And you really don't have to color two colors if you don't want to. You could color them in solid. I like to have it show a little bit of dimensional, so I do both colors. And everybody has their own style of coloring, so we, you know, what I do might not be the way you want to color. And don't let that bother you. There's no right or wrong reason. It's how you want to do it. And I don't like to take a lot of time to color usually, mainly because I'm doing it on a video. So I just try to get my color in there just so it looks decent. Because not all tea leaves grow the same. Not all flower petals are colored the same. So flowers are very unforgiving when you, or very forgiving, unforgiving. And then if I wanted my leaves just a little bit darker in spots, all I would do is just take this back and barely, I mean, just kind of like feather tip it, without a lack of a better word, if I wanted to add just a little bit of darker color in places. And like I said, I'm not being really strategic about it. I'm just trying to get some light and dark in there. There we go. And there's, let me hold that up. So there's my leaves. And once that starts drying, it'll all dry lighter, which makes it nice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let me see how this one works. There's the small tip. Here's the large tip. Now if you notice on those two tips, my bigger tip is my lighter color. So that's why I always make a test of what I'm doing. In fact, I don't think my small tip here ran out of ink, and my bigger tip is kind of being ugly. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I am going to take the bigger tip, and I am just going to take in where all of these little lines are at the ends of my flowers. And I'm not being very, I'm being careful around the edges, but when it's down here towards the tip of this, I'm not being as careful. So, and I'm just going to do that on every flower. I know some people think they have to be like really, really precise in their coloring. But you know, if you look at flowers out in your yard, they're not always tinted the exact same way. They're not, depends on how the sun's hitting them. And that, so your flowers on your paper is just as forgiving as your flowers in your garden. I could have had this colored already, but I thought I'll color today. Okay, now I'm going to take the bigger end of this one. I have to be careful at the tips of them, though. You know, you can, I don't know why I always think of zinnias like this color, purples, and I don't know. I don't even know if I even have any out. And if I get this in the center, I'm not worried about that either. And if I leave some white even showing on my petals, that doesn't bother me too much either. I think the basic synopsis of me is nothing bothers me. Just go with the flow. I've been stamping so long that it just, so there's one flower. Let's do the next. I think a lot of people think you have to be so precisioned in your coloring and in your, shadowing and stuff like that. And you really don't. Now, if you were doing people's faces and stuff, yeah, I'd say a little bit more for that reason. But when you're doing flowers and vases, I'll show you a card I just made last night. I'm in a swap with, it's a different group I'm on. And I designed the card. It's a fun fold card. So I got my card designed, and I don't know what I was thinking. You can, at that, in that group, you can sign up to do 1 or 10 cards, you know, anywhere between 1 and 10. So it's a fun fold thing. And so what did I do? I signed up for 10 of them. Isn't that the silliest thing in the world to do? I thought, oh, I got time. I'll do 10. Yeah. See, when I'm down in this where it's real thick with petals, I can go fast. And I do like coloring with my bigger tip. I know a lot of people don't, makes them nervous. But whatever you're comfortable with, that's what you do. Don't say, oh, she can do that with a big tip, so can I. Well, if you're not comfortable, don't do it. Because then you're only going to frustrate yourself, and you don't want to get frustrated. No frustrated colorers allowed. Makes for a bad day. Now, I will say I have messed up some pieces. I've told this before. I used to teach coloring with Copic markers, which, you know, there's a little bit more guesswork to the shadowing with those. And I colored a little stamp, probably about the size of this flower, but it was a little girl with some flowers. I used 25 colors in that stamp that I did. Now I see a piece where I forgot to put some green. We'll go back and just add this green real quick in here. It's right here. There we go. See, sometimes you can actually see that too. What you and I just want a little bit more darker color in here because this one looks light to me. So I'm just going to go back and just add a little bit here and there. Doesn't have to be everywhere. And then I'm going to take my pecan pie and I'm just going to kind of make a actually I must have used, I didn't test these ends and I should have because the darker one is the one I used. So just going to make a dark center in here. And I could have taken my time. There's some little, looks like little stars in here, and I could have made those lighter than that. But for the sake of camera, we did it that way. Then I'm going to take my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to put that into the center of my flowers. And voila, we have a flower done. So if you can see that, can you see the sparkle in it? So what I'm going to do on here is I'm going to add dimensionals to that. Well, all I've got sitting here is little dimensionals. I got one piece of big. I was sitting here cutting up ends of stuff and using it yesterday. And actually I can do that because the edges of this stuff is really thick. So I can just put pieces of that around. I just want this to be able to stick up really well, so then I'm going to put a little one on this leaf down here and a little one on this one out here. We're going to add this to the front of our card. See me peel all this stuff off. I like to use a lot because I like for it to stick really well. Okay, then I'm just going to add that to the front of my card. And I'm going to take this saying, which is sending flowers and thinking of you, which I think is a really cute saying, and that is also in here. The other sayings is words fail to express my gratitude and thank you so much. I just think those are really cute. So I just have these, I save these tiny small scraps of cardstock when I have them because they're really good for these little small sayings. So I'm just going to ink that up. And of course I'm going to ink it upside down because I have a better chance of not getting ink on the edges of the rubber. So let's go ahead and stamp that. There we go. And this card, since it's a white card base, I really didn't stamp anything onto the inside. I even broke out an old pair of scissors I had. Because I like to use those with odds and ends stuff. So now I'm just going to add that with dimensionals to the back of this little piece, and I'm going to I like to use this with the sticky stuff because those are, I don't know what I want to call them, titanium maybe, or something where the glue doesn't stick and all that stuff. And then you can just decide how you want this on. I kind of liked it at an angle, so I'm going to angle it again. That's on the front, and then we are going to add a little bit of the classic matte dots. I do have my pick tool right here. So, and I'm going to add the gray. I thought the gray made a nice. I think I still like it over that way. There we go. So that's our card. Very simple, wasn't it? And it's a technique. We haven't done a technique on here as per se. I mean, you know, fun folds and that, those are kind of like techniques, I guess. To me, they're not. I think techniques is when you're like altering your cardstocks and, you know, doing different things like that. So I had said last week that I would show you how I did my Rolodex. I don't do that anymore because I don't add new techniques per se. Because I have a lot of them in there. I have 2 or 3 Rolodexes, I think, full of stuff. And I should get it out more often and use it, but then I think some of it just doesn't pertain anymore. It's, you know, stampings evolve to different things, and you don't have to do all of that type of work. But I will be sending this card out. And like I said, I just left it plain on the inside since it's just a basic white to be written in. I didn't want to stamp and color because of the blends. I did tell you I'd show you my other card I made. It's a fun fold, and I did the I colored with it in a coloring mode. So here's my little fun fold, and it is using the everyday detail stamp that's in the mini catalog, and they're dies, which I really like these dies. It's right here. That has all the little holes and stuff in them. So if you notice that when that's down, you can see the white and underneath there. But then when you open it, you have your card here and it opens this way. Whoops. So you don't see the vase here. You just see the front. You open it up, it's the full face. And then it just a little different fun fold. And actually what I'm trying to do is use up some of my DSP and stuff that's going to be going out, you know, when the catalogs go out the end of April, and I don't want to wait till the last minute. I want to try to start using some of that. So I did that. That was just a food for thought up here on this card, the little fun fold card. I got to make 10 of those. I got one done. So I think I need to get busy. So that's it, ladies. Any questions on the technique? It's really pretty simple. If you don't, I know a lot of people probably still have a brayer, has that old, what was the name of that? Those brayers that were out. Started with an S, I think. Anyway, I have one of those. Thanks, Diane. It's good to see you on here too. I really like this technique. I had forgot all about it, and I was kind of just scrolling through, seeing what kind of techniques were in there to know what to do. And if you look at these two, you can see the difference in how more heavy-handed I was with this one. It shows more color. This one's more subtle. So you don't get two of them to turn out the same. Make 11 and send me one. I want to be in your swap. This swap is actually, it's a demonstrator swap. It's a Facebook group. for demonstrators for swapping. And they do a different swap every month, and you can sign up for 1 to 10 cards, and there's a theme every month and stuff. I've done it for like 3 months, and that it is nice to get ideas and see what other people are doing. I like that. So that's how that is. My team's getting ready we're having a swap. In fact, tomorrow is let me move my camera, look at that. Tomorrow's our deadline for my team to sign up for our team swap. Diane remembers the Rolodex techniques. Did I probably show that, Diane, at a TAC convention or something? Do a thing on that? I might have. Because I know I did several different, what do I want to say that I did there? Demonstrations. Yes. Please share our swaps. Well, I will share our swaps. I have shared a couple of them before because I've done a couple of them. What was the one that I did not too long ago? Let me see if I still have the sample of it. Oh, was it this one? I did my own take on it though, where it flipped up and then had this little piece here. I just did this one and wrote the directions out for it. Let me see if I see I probably already used my samples. I've been mailing out cards, guys. I mean, I'm getting with the program here. I don't see my sample that I made, but I had done one with that. But I do look at them and see. Some of them I've done before, so I don't do them. But it's not a fun fold every time. Sometimes it's just a card using like the mini catalog or whatever. But it's a lot of fun. But I'm going to draw a name for this one so somebody will win. The PDF should be up in the Stamp Crazy VIP group. I need to say that because I know people are watching on YouTube, my Stamp Crazy by Rita Holmes page, and then my group, which is the big group that most of you guys are in, and that's where you watch from. So if you have any questions and you try to do, if you do this, let me see the cards that you did and see the colors that you used and stuff. So actually, this card right here came from one of my very old, I went through my fun folds and I thought, well, and this is back when I never even put a picture on it. And Holly Rosardi is the one that says, really, you need to put a picture so we can see it. But here's the card I did way back when, and you guys will probably remember this paper. But in this die set, but that was what I took this card from and made it into today's stuff. So, you can always go back and use old ideas and make them fresh again. So that's all I got, girls. You guys have a great day. And I'm not only killed myself going to La Rosa's yesterday, which is a Cincinnati-based company. I'm going to kill myself today because I've never been here, but I'm going to Blue Ash Chili, which I have never had Blue Ash Chili, and I am not eating it today either. My husband wants to try it, and I'm going to meet a friend there, and we're going to lunch. So I'm going to go there, but I will not eat chili today. So you guys have a great day, and I'll get ready to where we're going to drive to Blue Ash and have lunch. So I will see you guys again in a week, if not before. I keep saying I want to come on before, but I never do that. Thanks, Gina. I will have a good lunch. I'm sure they'll have something that I can eat without it being chilly. I'm not a chilly person anyway, so I'm not bummed about not being able to eat it today. Who said I never had that chili either? Yeah, I've heard it was really good. I've heard they had good sandwiches, so it's good to know that other people like it. So we will talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Bye.